Hi harmonica fans, my name is Sankey and today I'm talking about bending using the tongue block embouchure. So this is a continuation of my videos talking about tongue blocking. We've talked about single notes, we've talked about what you can do with tongue blocking, so go and check those videos out if you haven't already done so. And today we're talking about producing bends using tongue blocking, which is something I get asked quite a lot. Now, this video will assume you are a harmonica player who can bend lip pursed. So this whole video series on tongue blocking has been aimed at people who lip purse and are already at a certain standard and are looking to incorporate tongue blocking into their technique, even if they don't fully commit to it or they want to use parts of it, etc., etc. And we've anchored the whole concept around using your existing lip pursing technique on the first 3 holes, and we've just been tinkering around with some of the concepts of tongue blocking on holes 4 and above. And recently we've been talking about single notes and producing some scales that you can incorporate with your lip pursing. And now we're going to move on to bends, but we're assuming you can already bend as a lip purser. Now, if you can't bend at all on the harmonica, there are plenty of videos on YouTube which can explain how you can do that. Nevertheless, my personal approach for this video to get you to bend using the tongue blocking embouchure is actually to start with sort of really focusing and examining how you do bends with your current lip pursing style, and then change it so you're changing the engine of how you're bending, and then we're just going to use the same engine but with a tongue block embouchure. So I hope that makes sense. What we're going to be using is a C diatonic harmonica. We might use an A harmonica as well, but principally a C diatonic harmonica. And what we're going to try and do, because this is, I've been dreading talking about this subject actually, bending, because it is so hard and elusive to explain. Different players bend in different ways, and obviously the nature of the harmonica, you can't see what someone's doing, and bending is a particularly difficult aspect to explain. But once people get it and they find out how it works, then the rest kind of follows. It's kind of just getting that first step on the ladder, I suppose, that people find difficult. So what we're going to be doing today is just focusing on a 1 or maybe 2 holes and 1 kind of riff that you can practice to get things going. So what we're going to do is we're going to use draw 4. Okay, we don't want a reed that's too heavy, too difficult to bend, but we want something that has a bit of weight to it so you can feel and sort of connect with what your body is doing when you're bending. And we can also use draw 6 for this exercise. So where we're going to start is with your lip purse bending. Now, the way most people bend lip pursed, there is a bias towards a tightening of the lips at the front. So if we simply look at moving draw 4 up and down a half step, so it's in cross position, it's the 5th tone going down from a 5 to a flat 5. Or in 3rd position, it's the 1, and you're going from the 1 to a flat 1. So what we're going to look at, first of all, is just getting that reed, that note moving, okay, up and down. So using your lip pursing technique, what I want you to do is really focus on where that connection is and how you're achieving that bend. And what you'll probably find is it's a combination of the jaw lifting and a focus and tightening at the front of the lips. So it's kind of... So the lips are involved, essentially. Now, what we need to get to is a different type of bending technique which uses the back of the tongue and the throat a lot more, so the lips are not so much involved, because when you're tongue blocking bending, you've obviously got your tongue doing the seal, creating the seal, and you can't use your lips in exactly the same way. So you've got to get that bend moving from a different part of your anatomy. Now, I think this is you can achieve this lip pursing. That's essentially what I'm getting at. So once you've got that engine going with your lip pursing embouchure, you can then switch to the tongue block embouchure, and it should just there or thereabouts start working for you. So if we think of a kind of little Walter type bend, this kind of thing, which I'll do lip pursed initially, it's going to... Now that, if you're focusing at the front of the lips, this is a good way of moving that bending technique further back, okay? So what we're going to do is, it won't probably sound much different, but the focus is completely different, okay? So we're going to go from more of a to more of a. So the difference is, when you're doing the second way, lip pursed, you're looking to move away from using your lips to produce the actual bend. And what you're looking to do is you're using the back of your tongue. There'll be a point where you can feel that you're trying to reach up and touch the roof of your mouth, the palate of your mouth, and at the same time there's a lifting of the throat, and you can bend without using your lips at all, using this kind of technique, okay? So rather than being at the front with a, you can just be. The thing with the throat and the lifting of the tongue. Now when we move to tongue blocking, that lifting of the tongue, the forward part of the tongue can stay still, keep that block, but you're lifting and moving the back of the tongue using your throat and your jaw a little bit to produce the bend, but that motion does not interfere with the seal which you want to produce the single note. The problem with lip pursing techniques that most people have is they bend not using the throat and the back of the tongue. It's more focused towards the lips. So this kind of little Walter style bend, just try and imagine a kind of big haunting tone. Lip pursed for now, rather than going at the front of the lips towards this back, using the back of the tongue and the throat, that lifting up, the note comes down, right? So you'll get this from this kind of sound. So you just literally want to play around with that, moving away from the lips, more towards using the bits I've just talked about. So you can just start to get some pull on that reed and start moving it around. Now initially, you won't have much precision, but once you can do that lip pursing and you find that sweet spot at the back of your tongue, you can then go and introduce your tongue blocking embouchure. And you'll find, if you've got that engine going, it doesn't matter whether you're lip pursing or tongue blocking, but you can't produce bends, tongue blocking, using a lot of the lips. You kind of, but it doesn't work as well, produces a different sound. So what you're doing with that tongue blocking embouchure is, all the tongue is there for is to produce that seal. It's blocking the notes off to the left or right hand side, and you lifting the back of the tongue, as I said, up with the throat. There's not that much happening with the lips. So this is a great way of just getting that reed moving, even if initially you can't control it. So it's that kind of little Walter kind of sound. Now once you've got that kind of motion, to develop it, enhance it, you're looking at two crucial elements. First of all, whether you're bending, tongue blocking or lip pursing, it's good to think about bends not as bends, but as notes. So a bend is a way of achieving another note. And on the harmonica, you can have a transition to that bend, which gives you a kind of, a changing tonality, pitch, which you can sort of sweep up and down, or you can go from one note straight to another. So you bend, but you don't hear the bend in between. So those are the kind of two elements. You want to be able to control that transition down or up in pitch. But where you're going to is a specific place. So on the draw 4, you're going from the 5th down half a step to the flat 5 in cross position. In 3rd position, you're going from the 1 down a semitone. But whatever it is, it's a semitone bend on that draw 4. So once you've got the reed moving a little bit and you can think, yeah, look, it's just starting to bend, you need to work on that and really focus and concentrate and feel how you're using the back of your tongue, lifting up and using your throat and jaw to produce that, and just keep focusing and getting that into your brain. And then once it's starting to get a bit more controllable, then you've got to start really polishing that control and that transition. So it's the same deal as when you first learned to bend. So getting your transitions smoothly down, smoothly up. And going from no bend to a bend with no transition. Now here, to do that, as I said, not really using my lips at all. So it's a lifting of the throat, jaw, not so much the jaw moves, but the power is from the back of the throat and the back of the tongue. So, in principle, that's how you start producing tongue block bends. Tongue block blends. By adjusting your lip pursing technique, so you've got the engine in place, and then you bring in your tongue blocked embouchure. Once you've got that, then you'll find it'll work, and your lip pursing bends will also improve as well, because of course this works on jaw 3, jaw 2, jaw 1. Finally, for this video, because I've already been going on quite long, with this same riff, we can take the jaw 4 and the jaw 5 and use and practice our bending techniques using this very common riff you hear, which is this. So, using that embouchure, tongue block embouchure, and the bends, you can go from a start slow, it's the same principle, jaw 4, start on the bend, half step bend, as a note, the flat 5, up to the jaw 4, no bend, and across to the 5th, jaw 5, and repeat. Make sure that bend is down. Do it as a rolling transition. And think about that. Back of the tongue going up, and the throat lifting. And then think of it as 3 separate notes where there isn't a roll. So you're going boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba. Yep. So those are 2 ways of using that riff to develop your bends. There's a whole bunch more stuff we can talk about, and we'll do that in a follow-up video. I hope you found that useful. Check out my other videos on tongue blocking if it's something you're interested in, and as always, thanks to everyone who's sending in comments and questions. Great communicating with you online. Thank you very much.